Oh, I do. I have some fluid white. It's not zinc white, but it's titanium white fluid. So I'm just going to add a little bit of that orange to the white. And some gloss medium in there. Something like that. That's going in there. Oops, that purpley stuff is still kind of wet, so I'm picking up some of that. Okay, let's come back to that. Can that go any higher? So I did 2.2, and now for this one. Purple. So let me tell you the sad story of how that stuff that I've been teaching you guys and that little book that I put together, how that and all of the other technical secrets of the old masters got lost in the sands of time. So in the Master Apprentice studios, you would join the studio as a youngster and you would learn to draw and you would learn how to make paint. And you'd learn how to mix paints, and you'd learn how to put paintings together, and you'd learn all the technical stuff in the studios. But after by the late 1700s, so right around sort of mid to late 1700s, the Master Apprentice studio system started to fall away. And so right around Rembrandt's time and shortly after, it started to fall away. And the academies in Europe kind of came into prominence and they replaced the Master Apprentice system. So it was kind of like an organization like the FCA, really. Mm-hmm. So there was these big sort of art universities, they called them academies, and students would apply to, like what Kristen was talking about. You'd apply to get into them and show them your drawings and paintings and whatever. And they would have these master artists who would be the professors or teachers, and they have like classrooms of, it would be kind of like this situation, right? But all of the technical information that I learned from conservation stuff, that would, the masters in the Master Apprentice system, they never wrote books or manuals on how to do all this stuff. So after 150 years of the academies, it just kind of got lost. And then everybody's kind of flailing around, scratching their head, can't figure out how Caravaggio did his paintings, right?
Mm-hmm. That's too bad.
It is too bad, because now, I mean, art schools are even more horrific.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah.
That's why you should publish your book.
I'm hoping one of you guys will do it. I kind of, I don't know, did I tell you the story of why I didn't publish it?
No.
You said the publisher went under.
Well, yeah, I probably told it to you guys in Kelowna
Oh,
or
yeah.
maybe
That's all
online.
you said about it. You just said that
Yeah,
they went
so I
under.
wrote that back in the early 90s. I was putting all that together and I thought, oh, I have to write a book and get this out there for all these starving artists trying to figure out how to paint like me, right? This is the dark purple tint. I've got a dark and a light tint. Yeah, so I wrote it all back then. I thought I've got to get this published. So, you know, when you go to the bookstore and you go to the art section, and they have a whole shelf full of how-to books. Remember those? I don't know if they still do. I don't go to bookstores anymore. You know what I mean, right? You go to the, and they'd have a whole section on how to paint flowers and how to paint animals, how to paint mountains, and all these artists would publish these books on how to paint this or that, right? And I thought, oh, I'm gonna just do like a total technical thing, and it's gonna be awesome. And then I'm gonna retire and stop teaching people. But that didn't work out, so here I am. So I got this manuscript, the one I gave you, that was my manuscript, right? So I got that and I sent it to the biggest publisher of art instruction books in the world at the time was Watson Guptill out of New York. And I sent it to them and they said, that's a great idea, let's publish this thing. So they assigned me an editor, and we were working on that little manuscript for a while, back and forth. And there was no email or anything, so we were just sending this thing through the mail. So that went on for a few months, and then Watson Guptill, the company, disappeared. After 80 years of publishing books, they just kind of, I don't know what happened, they just kind of disappeared. And I was like, oh crap. And then that was like the mid-90s or something. And I thought, oh, I'm just gonna wait and see what this World Wide Web thing is all about. maybe I'll just upload it on the computer internet. The what? Oh yeah, the book would have been full of all kinds of illustrations and diagrams, kind of like the scribbly things they did for you. Would have been all full of that, and of course pictures of paintings with arrows pointing at stuff. And pardon me? Do you publish? Can you publish?
I don't publish graphic designer.
Oh.
Here's your final product.
Self-publishing's a thing now, you know.
Yeah.
Well, I know, and that's the other thing. So initially I thought, well, I'm going to wait and see what the internet does. And then after a while, rather than look for a publisher, I thought, well, maybe the self-publishing thing will come into something that's workable, and it has now. So yeah, I might do it.
It's really interesting. It's like a tool book. It's giving you all the information that you said you didn't get in college. Like
Yeah.
science.
Yeah, exactly. No, I think it's worthwhile, and maybe I should do it.
So you know Janice Robertson?
Oh, I know her well.
So she did a published how-to book.
Yeah?
Yeah, a while back though, she said.
Yeah, I guess it's pretty easy to do for just about anyone these days, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
I just thought that you could,
What's that?
well, figure out who she published it through. Like, figure out who she
Oh,
published
yeah.
it through, right?
Is that like purple, just the glaze into it?
No, it's just a lighter tint of purple. I actually have 3 tints. I kind of lied to you about that. Do you guys know Janet? Anyone else
Yeah,
taking a
I've
workshop
been
with
to her
Janet?
classes, yeah.
She's dull.
She's great.
And her husband passed away
Yeah,
this year.
Alan
He was
Wiley.
an amazing artist.
Yeah.
Alan Wiley.
Yeah.
Yeah. I met Janice. I moved to BC in 1992. That's like 30 years ago now. And when I moved to BC, I tried to avoid artists as much as I could.
How'd that go for you?
It went okay for a while. And then this FCA group found out about me. Any members of the FCA here?
Yeah, I was, yeah.
What?
I was, yeah.
Yeah? It's a really good organization. I totally love these people. Federation of Canadian Artists. It's like a great place to learn how to paint because they do workshops and online, like all the best painters in BC and Alberta and stuff, they teach workshops through the FCA. So it's really good situation. And when I was in Kamloops back in the 90s, I got contacted by the FCA and they said, we're having a show. They have their juried shows. Anybody ever do juried shows? No?
Not yet.
Nobody? Wow, how come?
Hmm.
No, seriously, how come nobody does juried shows?
I think it's kind of one of those things where it's like, how?
It's like what?
How?
How what?
How? I don't know. I mean, I'm so involved in my own life that I don't think that far outside of my life.
Okay, yeah, fair enough.
I think it's a cool idea that you have to look ahead and see what the subject matter they want is and then plan, I guess.
Yeah, they have different themes
Yeah.
for their juried shows too, right?
Yeah. Some of them are like landscape, some of them are abstract, and
Yeah.
depends what you want to
Like,
do.
are they normally done through galleries, or is it the Federation of Canadian Artists, or what?
No, the Federation has different chapters. So there's like an Okanagan chapter, there's a Calgary chapter, there's an Edmonton chapter.
Then,
So all of these different organizations will put on a show, and artists will submit their paintings to the jury, and the jury will select which paintings go into the show.
But it's quite